Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Jaspreet Singh, and I'm Regional President for World Sikh Organization of Canada. First of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone for coming in on this important day. We are releasing our ASH, Anti-Sikh Hate report. Last year, you guys, most of you guys have known, we did a survey at this place and then across other cities in Canada, uh, trying to see and find out and get some stats on rise of anti-Sikh hate in Canada. And the results are very disturbing for sure. We knew that, that this is coming, this is happening. And Balpi Singh after me will give you guys further insights into the report. But before that, let me say a thanks to Member of Parliament Sonia Sidhu, Member of Parliament Amandeep Sodhi, and then from City of Brampton we have Mayor Patrick Brown, Councillor Paul Winsett, and from City of Caledon we have Councillor Mario Russo, Councillor Dave Sheen, and Councillor Doug Maskell. Thank you everyone for coming in on this important day. Regarding the report, as I mentioned before, can you guys hear me at the back? Okay. The report is very important because, as I mentioned before, from last couple of months and years, we have seen that hate is on the rise, especially against immigrants, especially against visible minorities, especially against someone who has a beard or who tie turban, whether on social media and also in person while living in this society. If someone asked me that about this 5-6 years ago, I could never have imagined that this is happening in Canada. I came here 10 years ago as an international student, but last 3-4 years are completely different from my rest of the experience in Canada. Regarding the anti-Sikh hate, we know this is happening, but the problem when we start digging further into the issue was that the lack of reporting. The incidents happen to a lot of our people, a lot of our community, whether it's on social media and whether it's in person, in workplace, when you go out to watch a movie or when you are just relaxing in a park, these incidents were happening with people. But the biggest problem about being, on the one hand, we are getting targeted, then on the other hand, our own people, they don't report. When you talk to someone who's a victim of anti-Sikh hate, or whether it's verbal or physical harassment, they don't want to talk to police. They don't want to report the incident to anyone. And this was the biggest issue. When you can't report such incident, that means it is not getting into the system. If it is not getting into the system, that means there are no stats, no facts about it. That also means that when it came to policy, there are no stats. No stats means it's not happening. So that's why last year we did Canada-wide surveys in all major cities in Canada and did more than 1,800 surveys of individual people. And as I mentioned before, the results were very disturbing. And then Balpi Singh after me will share insights into that. After this, I would like to invite Mr. Patrick Brown, Mayor of Brampton, to come on stage and share his words for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to officially welcome everyone to Brampton City Hall. To have an organization as respected and formidable as the WSO hosting an important conversation is an honor for our city. The World Sikh Organization has been an incredibly effective advocacy organization for the Sikh community and always having the difficult conversations that sometimes the country needs to have but isn't ready to have. And I have to say, having a conversation on anti-Sikh hate right now is important, and we have to call it out by name. I was hearing about the themes and the responses in the survey made me think about where we are today. And you look on a local level, When I see commentary, I attend an event at a Gurdwara and I see the online comments. Unfortunately, in recent years, I am seeing more negativity, more toxicity than I've ever seen. And unfortunately, there's an echo chamber on the internet where it becomes normalized. Then you look at the province next to us right now, where the draconian Bill 21, which is based on xenophobia, is now being enhanced. You know, here you are, it's going to the Supreme Court, it's at the Supreme Court, a draconian bill that infringes on religious freedom, and now they're expanding it to other aspects of society. And why is hate being normalized? And particularly, I notice it, of course, in Brampton, because we have this vibrant and large and flourishing Sikh community. I see that hate, and I think we need to recognize as Canadians, if one community is attacked, we're all attacked. And if you allow one community to be bullied without a response, unfortunately, that hate is contagious. And so I just want the WSO to know that we're here to help any way we can in the city of Brampton, just like we did on Bill 21, to push back against hate, the anti-Sikh hate, which we believe goes against who we are as Canadians. And I also wanted to mention, a former executive director of yours, the WSO, Jaskran Sandhu, is a good friend of mine. I think he just celebrated his 40th birthday. Otherwise, he'd probably be here. I think he's in Italy right now. But when he ran municipally in Brampton, you look at the vitriol that he faced. Many of them were probably foreign bots, but there was hate. And the fact that we're at a time period in Canada where transnational repression is occurring, that hate is becoming normalized, we have our work cut out. And we know the WSO is going to push that conversation, push for action, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do. And you just always know the city of Brampton is here as an ally and a friend. Thank you so much, and welcome to our City Hall.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਬਲਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਵਰਲਡ ਸਿੱਖ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਲੀਗਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ Today's gathering here is incredibly important, as Jaspreet Singh said. So for the past year, we have been looking at data from across Canada about anti-Sikh hate. And it's taken us a full year to analyze it, to understand it, and then to compile it in a way that we think is going to help people understand the issue. So I'm just starting the conversation, and of course we have a stellar panel joining us today, but let's go through some of the key figures out of this report. So let me just make sure. There we go. Okay. So as Jaspreet Singh said, this is the largest data set of Sikhs ever gathered in Canada. We did over 1,600 surveys at town halls across Canada, Brampton, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, Surrey, of course, Montreal, Ottawa. So every major city, we had the opportunity to connect with the community in person and to have these surveys filled out. And the timing for this was from January 1st to March 1st, 2025, so last year. So I would suggest to you that this situation has actually gotten worse. And, anecdotally, before we started this survey, we knew that Sikhs are facing rising anti-Sikh hate. But the problem was that it's being lost. So when we have hate crimes being reported, it's being reported as South Asian hate or other. We have Muslim, Jewish, and then other. And the problem is we're getting lost in the other. And I can tell you once again, anecdotally, that I get regular calls now. When I started this job in 2009, it was not that often that I would get a hate crime reported to me. And I can tell you just from this month, I've had Medicine Hat, where a Sikh delivery man was attacked. And unfortunately, one of the commonalities amongst all these attacks is that the attacker goes for the dastar, grabs the turban. Just this week, I had an incident come to me from Richmond Hill, so not too far. in a plaza parking lot. I had an individual who's, once again, the star was ripped off his head. And he emailed me saying, this has happened. I emailed him back saying, did you tell the police? Did you call the police? And you know what he emailed me back? He emailed me back saying, I did tell the police, did I make a mistake? Am I going to get in trouble? We're going to talk about that. And I'm going to sort of reveal myself before I get to that slide, but 70% of Sikhs who face hate attacks don't report it to the police. 70%. And there's a lot of reasons for it. One could be that spirit of Chardi Kala, that I'm not going to let this faze me. The other reason could be that someone is nervous about interacting with the police, either for immigration reasons or because of their background, knowing that in Punjab, if you call the police, that's not going to solve anything. It's going to cause 100 different other types of problems. But people are afraid of going to the police. So we're going to have to talk about that. So we talked about this in our town hall meeting when we had it last year, which is that unless you can name something and define it, you can't properly talk about it. So what we've done in this report is do a comprehensive definition of anti-Sikh hate. Now, the first thing I want you to understand about anti-Sikh hate is that there's a difference between a hate crime, which is a different threshold, and anti-Sikh hate. Anti-Sikh hate, for us, and I'm going to read the definition, is prejudice or hostility against individuals who are perceived to be Sikh based on their appearance, beliefs, advocacy related to their identity. The definition that we've included in this report, which we'll be releasing on Monday, this is a 70-page report, so it's a lot here, is a lot more detailed, but this is like the, in a nutshell. So this report, and we're going to talk about what's in it, but the stuff that I can't talk about is that it's got a history of Sikhs in Canada and the hate that they've faced through the 20th century going into today. We're going to talk about, for example, some of our older guests here will remember in 1974 when the first Gurdwara was opened downtown on Pape Street. There were a number of attacks that took place at that Gurdwara. A number of attacks have taken place across Canada. So a full screening and scan of what has happened. There's going to be case studies in this that I think everyone will find interesting. But this picture, specifically, if you're looking at it, is from 1974. It was a protest at Toronto City Hall against an attack at the Pape Gurdwara. So what have we found? We found that there are two sources of anti-Sikh hate that we can specifically identify. And if you look at the bottom, there's an arrow. That arrow is actually very important. So the first source is what we would expect. It's domestic, it's racist, it's xenophobic, it's anti-immigrant. People who have those sort of sentiments are targeting Sikhs. Why? Because Sikhs are the most visible of the visible minorities. With our dastars, with our beards, with our articles of faith, we stand out in a crowd like we're supposed to. And that makes us a target. So when you're seeing these anti-immigrant posters, often it is a Sikh with a dastar who's being featured. The other source is transnational oppression and disinformation from India. This is the one that most people don't know about, and it's unfortunately the one that people, even in our government, are nervous or reluctant to talk about. That means there are narratives coming out of India, targeting Sikhs in Canada, and feeding into xenophobia and anti-Sikh sentiment amongst the racist fringe. So ideas are being introduced from India about Sikhs in Canada with the intention of poisoning the minds of Canadians and turning them against the Sikh community here. That's very, very important. So let's go through some examples. What you're seeing here is just today I collected a series of pictures that I've found from recent incidents or events. So you'll see that at the recent Conservative Party of Canada convention, you had a group that stood outside calling for remigration and with the message, conserve what? Basically vilifying politicians, here it's Pierre Poilievre, that go to Sikh places of worship, that cover their heads as a part of the protocol to enter a Gurdwara. You're seeing Vandalism. So this is actually Bramley and Countryside last summer. 6 are criminals and F6. And then you have online hate that we've seen grow. So Tim Hortons is now referred to as Sing Hortons. And you have this image of a cockroach with a dastard on his head, a turban on his head. And of course, dehumanizing an individual, dehumanizing a community is one of the steps that is used before violence is enacted on them. And then we've seen real life examples of Sikhs actually being hurt or attacked. In Kelowna recently, we had an international student who was attacked by a group who tore off his dastard, ripped his hair. He was badly injured. And we're seeing something new. We're seeing the term, and remember I said that arrow, the disinformation from India? We're seeing a narrative about so-called Khalistanis taking over Canada. And this is specifically a narrative that has come from India, which suggests that supporters of Khalistan, which is a separate Sikh state, and a separate Sikh state is, a right for people to have self-determination, to talk about sovereignty. And Khalistan is in fact a noble sentiment that's based on the Sikh beliefs of Sarbat da Bhala, meaning the welfare of all, seva, humility. I'm not here to talk about Khalistan, but it is a model of governance that is based on the lowest of the low being exalted, being served. That no one is below anyone else, that it creates a level playing field. It's a vision of a different type of sovereignty. But we're seeing here a cartoon from that racist, xenophobic fringe that shows so-called Khalistanis taking over Canada, and to suggest that by 2000, first they said 50, they scratched out the 50 and replaced it with a 35, saying that Canada will be declared Khalistan and white people will be thrown out. It's ludicrous, it's not true. But I've actually had people call the WSO phone telling me that you can never make Canada Khalistan. Angry at the WSO, saying you will never be able to turn our country into Khalistan. It's completely ridiculous. No Sikh has ever said they would. But that's a narrative, and where is it coming from? This is a quote from the public inquiry into foreign interference in the federal election process and democratic institutions. So the Hogue Commission. This is their final report. I'm going to read from it. India also uses disinformation as a key form of foreign interference against Canada, a tactic likely to be used more often in the future. India's activities primarily target the approximately 800,000 members of the Sikh diaspora in Canada and aim to promote a pro-India and anti-Khalistan narrative. So this isn't me saying it. This is the Hogue Commission that was appointed by our federal government to look into foreign interference. It is them saying that there is disinformation targeting Sikhs in Canada coming from India to create a pro-India and anti-Khalistan, anti-Sikh narrative. Let's see how that works. These are all screenshots from Indian media. K-gangs, so K is a short form for Khalistan. K-gangs turned violent in Canada. Khalistanis taking over Canada, today's big debate. And you'll see they've actually co-opted even a Canadian reporter that used to work for the CBC, Terry Milowski. So he's appearing on this Indian channel with the big debate on how Khalistanis are taking over Canada, Khalistani mayhem in Canada. And then complete lies. All of these are complete lies. So the largest drug bust in Canada, Khalistan narco terror exposed. This was fake news around Peel Police's Project Pelican. Project Pelican was a massive drug bust which included members of the Punjabi community who were arrested. But the Indian media reported this as being a crackdown on Khalistan terrorism, which was funding the Khalistan movement in Canada. When we got a direct comment from Peel Police, they said, no, this isn't the case, that this Project Pelican had no relation to narco-terrorism, had no relation to Khalistan. But that narrative was being pumped out by India and found itself into an op-ed run by the National Post, authored by Ujjwal Dosanjh. So the purpose of this fake news is to get it into Canadian news somehow, to get it into Canadian minds that Khalistan, that Sikhs are criminals, extremists, violent, ethnically cleansing Punjab, attacking minorities, everything negative about the Sikh community, and it's orchestrated. So a couple more, will Khalistan be created in Canada? This is literally an Indian news headline. And then Canada tightens laws against hate symbols, Khalistan-linked flags in focus. So Parliament has passed Bill C9, it is now at the Senate. The Indian media have painted this Canadian law, which was actually championed by the Jewish community, as being Canada cracking down on Khalistan. The Khalistan flags will no longer be allowed, they will be banned, which is absolutely ludicrous, it's not true. But the idea is, once again, to create disinformation, to create distrust, to create doubts, fear. And we, of course, know that India has gone so far as to assassinate members of the Sikh community. Bhai Hardeep Singh Nijjar was, of course, the most prominent, but there have been several others. The RCMP have confirmed at least 4 assassinations linked to the government of India in Canada. So these are the 2 sources of hate that we've been able to identify. So what are the impacts? Important to understand. Trauma and anxiety. So I went to Quebec in November, and if I talk about trauma and anxiety, it was exemplified by an incident that took place there. A young man, about 14 years old, wearing a patka. His father brought him to me at an event, and his father said, "Can you speak with him? He's got terrible self-confidence." And I looked at him, his shoulders were like this, his head was down, he's got a patka on his head, and I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He goes, "He's afraid of going out." I go, "Why is he afraid of going out?" He goes, "He's always afraid that people are going to make fun of his patka or call him names, they're going to bully him, so he just doesn't go out. He's got terrible self-confidence." And that, of course, is in the context of Quebec's Bill 21 as well, right? Where the stars are no longer permitted for teachers, for principals, but they want to expand that. I mean, the party in the lead there, the Parti Québécois, have said that they would ban students from wearing religious symbols, which is terribly alarming, of course. But this young man was broken. Anger and alienation. We're seeing young people, we're seeing families who are reporting that a member of their family has this experience at work, and they come home and they take it out on their families. It's not right, but it happens. Intergenerational trauma. So the fear created around Khalistan activism, around even using the word Khalistan, is real. It's manufactured by India, but it's real in the sense that parents are telling their kids, don't talk about that. That if there's an event where Khalistan might even be mentioned, that don't go. You might get into trouble. You might be attacked. We might, as a family, get attacked. And then we're seeing depression and self-esteem issues. We talked about that first example, but I can tell you that I'm seeing it on a much larger scale. What's that? Sikhs are being forced into this model minority syndrome, that we are always having to prove that we deserve to be here. How are we seeing that played out? So when we have this large contingent of international students who have come to Canada, obviously when you have that large a group that comes into a country, demographic changes, there's going to be an adjustment period. But we had a reaction from our community that we haven't seen before, which was to say, well, they're not like us. They're newcomers, that we're the good ones, and we agree they're bad ones. They shouldn't have come here. It's self-hate. It's self-hate. It's being uncomfortable with your own identity, but having to prove that, hey, I belong here. I'm one of the good ones. I mean, I tell this story often that my daughter said to me, "Dad, I noticed that when you go to stores, you always just create an excuse to speak with the person serving you." And when I thought about it, I said, she's right. You know why? Because I want them to know that I don't have an accent. Why? Because if I have an accent, maybe they won't treat me properly. I mean, why do I have to prove myself? My father came here in 1970. I grew up here, born here. My kids are born and raised here. I have every right to be called a Canadian. But why do I have to prove myself? It's that self-doubt that's created by this hate. And we're seeing it even amongst our elected officials. We're seeing them being targeted. that if they speak on Sikh issues, well, who do you really represent? Are you speaking on behalf of the extremists? And our politicians even are nervous about talking about Sikh issues because they don't want to be targeted. They're nervous. I mean, Jagmeet Singh was the leader of the NDP, and he got a duty to warn because there was a plot to kill him from a foreign government, India. So if the leader of a federal party isn't safe, I've actually had an MP saying, well, who's to say that we wouldn't be targeted if we spoke on these issues? So we're seeing anti-Sikh hate exhibit itself in very many different forms. So let's go into some of the numbers. 80% of respondents, so of the 1,600 surveys, 80% last year said that anti-Sikh hate was growing. That seems to be a very clear consensus amongst our community, that anti-Sikh hate from a grassroots level feels like it's growing. 65% of all respondents reported some kind of a hate incident. The most common was verbal harassment, and that's the 65, but you could pick more than one. 24 or 25 or 26, I forget the is 1/4. 1/4 of respondents replied that they faced anti-Sikh hate at work, that it affected their careers. 16% reported violence. This is alarming. I mean, 16% facing violence. And then, if you go to visible Sikhs, so visible Sikhs, I mean, those are having a dastar, have a beard, 91% reported some sort of an incident. So if you were a visible Sikh, 91%. And you know, there's another interesting figure that you might find in this report. It's that Sikh women that wear the dastar, the number of them who reported some sort of a hate incident is actually bigger than 91%. I think it's like 93 or 94. So this isn't limited to just Sikh men. Sikh women are actually also experiencing this hate when they are visibly Sikh. 70% of respondents who faced hate did not report it anywhere. Why? Because they were afraid, they didn't feel it was worth their time, they didn't feel that anyone would do anything about it. And you might find on our website, maybe you've seen it, is a bullying survey. 6 students who faced bullying at the Peel District School Board, they reported the same thing, that the majority of the students who faced bullying said that we don't report it because we don't think anything's going to happen. So this goes from the bottom up. Our youngest folks to our oldest folks don't feel that anything will happen when they report hate incidents. We've got to change that. If our incidents, if our experiences are not recorded, they don't exist. And then nothing can be done in order to address it. 65% of those who faced hate said that it had significantly impacted their mental health and well-being. So these aren't just incidents that we brush off. 65% reported a long-term impact on their mental health and well-being. So where is this happening? We're seeing these incidents from a range of places, whether that's in public spaces, schools, workplaces, invasive airport screenings where people are being treated differently. Who is it? Once again, the most affected are those of us who are visibly Sikh, who wear the articles of faith, but by no means is it just them. Once again, 65% of all respondents face this. Now I'm going to go to something that I think will be alarming for our entire country, and it should be. We went to Quebec, and we wanted to understand what's happening in Quebec. Now there is sort of a fiction, I would say now, that if you try and fit in, if you learn the language and you engage, these issues will lessen. Over time, the more you engage, the more you are integrated into your community, the better it's going to get. We found that if you speak French, you are actually far more likely to face hate. 89% of respondents who said that they speak French and they're Sikh reported hate, whereas 65% of those respondents who said they don't speak French reported hate. Both numbers are alarming, but the fact is there's a marked difference between those who actually speak French. So the given knowledge that, well, if you learn the language and you integrate and you speak, it actually is having the opposite effect. Maybe they're going out there and engaging and therefore opening themselves up to more hate. Maybe they, because they know the language, they can understand more the hates that's directed at them. But this is a problem at the Quebec level. This is a societal issue, that there is a hate issue in Quebec that is acute. All right, the last number I wanted to share with you is that, remember how I said the Indian government or Indian disinformation has targeted the term Khalistan? 54% of respondents reported being called Khalistani in a pejorative sense. So being attacked for being a Khalistani, and we're seeing this in India. So Sikh celebrities, movie stars, singers are being called Khalistanis, which is being used as almost as a slur. But that has actually become more common here in Canada. And being a Khalistani is not a bad thing. Once again, Khalistani, for me, it stands for someone that stands up for sovereignty, self-determination, sarbatta pala, meaning the welfare of all, seva, humility. Very positive concepts. But by design, the term Khalistani is being villainized and made into a slur, and more than half of respondents reported being called a Khalistani in a negative way. So these are the numbers. What are our next steps? So what we want to do is, first of all, have the definition of anti-Sikh hate officially adopted and make it a part of anti-racism strategies at the federal and the provincial levels. The next thing we want to do is have the data that we have around hate crimes disaggregated. So once again, we don't want to be under the South Asian label. We don't want to be under the other label. Sikh is big enough a category that it deserves its own number. It should be reported separately, just like Muslim, just like Jewish. It should not be lost with other communities or groups. We are also asking for investments in public education and awareness, and specifically around disinformation and transnational repression. So there is something in the works that I'm not supposed to probably tell you right now, but there is a project that we will be launching soon to debunk disinformation, almost like a Snopes for Sikhs. To debunk disinformation that targets the Sikh community that comes from specifically Indian sources. And we are receiving support from the federal government on this initiative. So this will be something that we'll be launching in the near future, but there's a lot of work that has to happen, and it's not just us that has to do it. This report will be posted on our website on Monday. And I want all of you to take this report and share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your elected officials. Share it with your school board. Share it with the police. This is for us to now have the numbers behind us to say this is real, you need to do something about it. What are the consequences? And I'm going to finish with this. Remember how I said self-hate is the result, the long-term impact of this anti-Sikh hate? It's become self-hate. That why am I like this? Why does everyone hate me? We've been speaking with students, Sikh students associations specifically. And at the high school level, we learned something that was incredibly disturbing. They said to us that when we want to talk about things like 1984, or want to have a discussion about Khalistan, or even when we want to speak Punjabi in the school, or sometimes we want to wear a certain type of clothing, that we're facing opposition from the schools. And when we probed this, do you know what we found? It was actually the Punjabi supervisors who were the most afraid of touching on these issues. The Punjabi supervisors were saying, don't talk about this. Do not do this event. Do not do Gatka. Do Bhangra. It's better to do Bhangra. Why? Because it's safe. It's performative. It doesn't seem violent. We are self-policing more than any other community could impose on us because we're afraid. And this is having an impact on our young people who are saying that this teacher, who I'm looking up to, Punjabi, became a teacher or a principal or an administrator, and they're telling me to erase my own identity? They're not letting me talk about my faith? That's what we have to counter. That's the long-term impact that I'm worried about. And it's because they're afraid. They're afraid that it might affect their job. They don't want to be called extremists. They don't want to be seen as outsiders. So let's confront anti-Sikh hate, and this guide, this report, is a first step. So today, we're going to have what I would call a stellar panel who are pioneers in the Sikh community in Canada. We have, of course, Baltej Singh Dhillon, who was the first turbaned RCMP officer. We have Gurbaz Singh Multani, who took the Kirpan case to the Supreme Court and affirmed the right of Sikhs to wear the Kirpan in Canada. And we have Dr. Jasprit Kaur Bal, who's going to be talking about her experiences when working with international students and also with the system. So I'm going to invite the panel and Manpreet Kaur, who is our Ontario Vice President, to take over the next part of this event. So Manpreet Kaur, if you would come to the stage and get the next part going. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you very much, Balpreet Singh, for taking us through the findings of this very important report. At this time, I'd like to welcome Minister Ruby Sahota, MP Sonia Sidhu, MP Amandeep Sodhi, President of the Treasury Board, Shafqat Ali, to please come to the stage to share a few remarks before we begin our panel. Thank you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I want to first and foremost congratulate the World Sikh Organization for completing this report, for compiling all of this information. It's really important for the community. I too, and I know my colleagues Sonia, Amandeep, and Shafqat, who is on his way, have talked a lot about this issue, and we see the rise of anti-Sikh hate, especially online and now seeping into the real life, everyday lives of our community. It's issues that we thought that we had overcome. I think all of us have faced different experiences, and it wasn't until this role and addressing this issue with various different communities that you start reflecting on your past and what you've seen. So, it's important to acknowledge that growing up, I heard many incidences where my father would say, we were driving by the street today and one of our seniors was being beat up in the park, and we had to get out to try to help that individual. We had many incidences myself in my family. I had my hair set on fire when I was 10 years old because of my race. And, children also suffered quite a bit, especially our little boys. I know my brother had many incidences where he'd be pushed into the girls' bathroom and not accepted as a young boy. And so we grew up with these issues, but we stopped talking about them. I don't recall myself, at least, I'll speak for myself, ever speaking about that throughout high school or university years until I got this role and I acknowledged and learned from others' experiences. And so I'm sure Sonia has her own experiences and Amandeep as well. But there was this hope that in the future this won't happen anymore. And it's unfortunate to see that that hope is starting to fade a little bit. But with the work that's being done by the WSO, I think we can all be hopeful that through these awareness campaigns, we hopefully could do better. We can do better. The funding that was given for this project was from the Canadian Race Relations Foundation, which is a Canadian corp. Just under $100,000 was provided to do this work. And I want to really, once again, say that, it's money well spent when communities are being able to build up their capacity and organizations can build up their capacity. I know that Balpreet was hesitant to mention, and maybe there could be a different singled out announcement. But I do want to say, when I was Minister of Democratic Institutions, we put together a separate fund called the Canadian Digital Literacy Fund. And it's nice to see that that fund now is in heritage. And through that fund, the WSO will be receiving about $120,000 to do anti-Sikh hate prevention and responsive work. So this funding will fund them from April 1st, 2026, all the way to March 31st, 2029, in various cities across the country, especially BC and Alberta as well. It's going to be really important, as Sikhs are the country's most visible and fastest growing religious minority. Sikh Canadians face overlapping forms of racism, xenophobia, and foreign interference, as mentioned by Balpreet, that threaten their safety, their civic participation, and their sense of belonging to their communities and to Canada. So this national community-led project is designed to prevent and respond to anti-Sikh hate through a combined effort of education, capacity building, and institutional collaboration. The project's activities will target Sikh Canadians, especially visible Sikhs and youth. The World Sikh Organization will develop and deliver a series of anti-hate and cultural competency workshops for educators, law enforcement, which is very, very important, and public institutions. The WSO will also establish community resilience hubs in partnership with Gurdwaras and university Sikh student associations to provide peer support, safety planning, and localized reporting systems. The organization will also develop a national online resource and reporting hub to provide educational materials and legal information and data collection tools. Finally, WSO will launch a digital literacy and counter disinformation campaign to combat online hate and transnational misinformation targeting Sikhs. So a lot of the work that has been identified, we will be able to hopefully, with the great work of this institution, respond to that. So once again, I want to just say congratulations, great efforts, and it's really good to see the capacity building and the growth of this organization. If Amandeep and Sonia want to say a few words, I'll let you go. Okay. Well, this initiative was on behalf of all of us, and thank you for inviting us here today. Every time the WSO has a community event, I think it's really important. It's nice to see the whole Sikh community and others, allies out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would like to actually at this time call upon the panelists to come take a seat and just do a brief introduction before we begin. So before we begin our conversation, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the individuals that are sitting here today. We have three incredible panelists whose lives and work have shaped the important conversations about Sikh identity, rights, and public service in Canada. Each bring a different perspective and set of experiences that will help guide our discussions today. We'll start off with Senator Baltej Singh Dhillon. The Honourable Baltej Singh Dhillon is a Canadian senator representing British Columbia, proud member of the Sikh community, whose life has been defined by seva and public service. After 35 years with the RCMP, he made history as being the first officer permitted to wear a turban on duty, an achievement that opened doors for generations of Sikhs across Canada. Beyond policing, Senator Dhillon has dedicated his life to public service through leadership roles, supporting marginalized communities, veteran families, and mental health initiatives. Senator Dhillon's contributions have been recognized with numerous honors, including the King Charles the 3rd Coronation Medal, and multiple honorary doctorates. Then we are also joined here with Gurbaj Singh Multani. His story is one that many in the Sikh community recognize as both deeply personal and nationally significant. After immigrating to Canada in the year 2000, he became central to the landmark Supreme Court case, which affirmed the rights of Sikh students to wear a kirpan in schools. What began as a young Sikh's stand to live authentically became a defining moment for religious freedom in Canada. Today, Gurbaj Singh holds a degree in accounting and works in the public sector and continues to carry his experience with humility, contributing to conversations on identity, rights, and belonging, while staying engaged in community education and dialogue. And then finally, we have Jaspreet Kaur. Jaspreet Kaur Bal is an educator, researcher, and community advocate whose work reflects a deep commitment to Sikh values of care, equity, and collective well-being. She completed her PhD in Cultural Studies at Queen's University, focusing on children's rights in Punjab, and now serves as an Associate Dean in the School of Child and Family Studies at Centennial. As a child and youth practitioner, she works closely with underserved communities, bringing both professional expertise and lived understanding to her practice. Dr. Bell is also active with the World Sikh Organization and the Sikh Research Institute, where she contributes to strengthening community voice, advocacy, and education. Just take a seat now and join you guys. All right, so to begin, we're gonna ground this conversation. I've already kind of introduced your guys' background, but there's so much more to your story. I would like to ask all the panelists to just share a defining moment in your journey that shaped your understanding of anti-Sikh hate, either personally or at a community level, and why that work matters to you. So if you don't go first, I will pick one of the three. So maybe we'll start with Gurbaj Singh at the end.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. That question, when I was a kid, about 12, 13 years old, I probably didn't ever thought of that. But now when I'm grown up, I see where we stand after 20 years when we fought that case. I reflect to those moments, and I can tell that the moments that defined when we won actually the second time in Quebec lower court, actually Superior Court, I was escorted by the police to the school because of the school was stormed by the parents and their kids outside lining up and yelling slogans, calling me Paki when I'm not even from Pakistan, and telling me go back to my country when I was actually immigrated to Canada and we were trying to make a living here and trying to settle here. And that's, I think, when I reflect back to that time, that was the moment that defined the anti-Sikh hate. Like, even after getting acknowledgement from the court, them accepting that it is not a weapon, it is an article of faith, still the community opposing it is not accepting what is my identity.
That's a powerful story. I mean, we can win the cases at court, but it's the court of public opinion and all of that type of stuff that really is a testament to how far we've come and how far we have to go, right? So thank you very much, Gurbaj Singh. Jaspreet Kaur Baigu.
Thank you. I was actually sharing with Gurbaj Singh, he's in the Human Rights Museum, his case is in the Human Rights Museum, and I went to go visit it with my family, and in an attempt to make the exhibit interactive, they had questions after every landmark case at the Supreme Court, and it said, should Sikhs be allowed to wear their kirpan? And this is asking an audience of folks who are proactively going to Human Rights Museums, so probably people who believe in human rights. Overwhelmingly, the answer was no, that we shouldn't be allowed to wear our kirbans. When I think about anti-Sikh hate, I think I'm so humbled to be between both of you because it's your stories that I use, especially when I'm doing advocacy. And I also want to share that the last time we were all together in here, when we were gathering information for this report, it was your stories. So ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ. You trusted us with your pain, and you trusted us with your stories, and the tone of that day of collecting information was very different. And today we come with a tone of strength. and taking that pain and turning it into something that's quite strong. I think one of the really important stats that came up was that Sikh women who wear the stars disproportionately face hate. I think it's also really important to acknowledge that Sade Singh jede a, they are the ones that more often wear the stars, and they are amongst the most visible. And ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੀਤਦੀ ਆ. So for me, yes, there's everything that I've experienced, and I'll definitely, and the report talks about intersectionality, and shout outs to the Black women and academics and Kimberly Crenshaw who helped us give words to our experiences so we can talk about intersectionality. But for me, it's watching my family, my son, my stepson, my husband, my dad, and travel. That's the one that makes me really feel anti-Sikh hate. So I call it the Sikh tax. We pay more. Everyone with a kirpan pays to check in their kirpan, even if you're traveling with a carry-on bag. We pay more to travel. We leave our house earlier. Because we know utte jaake saadi bejti honi hai, right? We know. So you put in that time for the bejti that you're going to get. You're going to watch your son have his dastar touched. You're going to watch my husband, whose kirpan was the right size, be sent back to check it in. And we had accounted for that extra time, right? Because we put that time in there. And even the last time that I was flying, my kakars got flagged. I always hold my breath. I try not to cry. I watch my family be embarrassed. I watch us pay extra money. I watch us take extra time. And then at the end of the day, मैं रोज अपने पोते केस वानी आ, 2.5 सालां दा आ, बहुत जवाब दिंदा है. Every day I do his hair, he says, why? Mama, why? But it's time to do your case. Why? Every single day I say, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੇਸ ਆ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਮੋਹਰ ਆ. ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੇਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is so happy that you have your case. And so alongside these conversations and the fact that you've shared your pain with us and the fact that we walk through this world with this extra gaze on us, I also want to share that we are so incredibly proud to stand out. I would pay that extra luggage fee every time to take my kirpan somewhere. I will leave my home an hour before a person who isn't going to get disrespected at the airport every time they travel. I will willingly put that time in because ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੁਹਾਗ ਦੀਆਂ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨੀਆਂ, ਇਹ ਕੇਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਮੋਹਰ ਆ, ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਾਣ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਭਚੰਗੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖਦੇ, and we're all Guru Sahib's ਬੱਚੇ, right? So when we keep our case and when we keep our kakar, those are such huge moments of pride. So it's not just a story of pain, it's also a story of Chardi Kala, and it's also a story of being so visibly in love with Guru Sahib that you're willing to wear that on your body.
I love that. Yes. Sat Vaheguru, I'm known for loud Jakari, and I was literally like, there's a mic in front of me, when do I do it? So thank you, Vaheguru, for doing that, but that was so beautifully said, Vaheguru. Baltej Singh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So what an incredible evening. Let me ground us a little bit and pick up from what has already been said. Anti-Sikh hatred is not new. It's been with us since the time of the Gurus. It's been with us since the time when Sikhi was founded. So this is not new, folks. Don't ਇਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਿਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ, ਕੋਈ ਝੜਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਾਰਨੀ ਆਪਣੀ. We're not going to slip. We're not going to get lost in this. I also want to thank our parliamentarians and Secretary of State Ruby Sahoda, Member of Parliament Amandeep Sidhu, Sonia, Amandeep Sodhi and Sonia Sidhu for being here today, councillors, the mayor. Let's remember we're sitting at City Hall.
Yeah.
Let's remember. So we belong. We belong. That's not a question here. So don't let any doubt come into our minds around who we are, what we're entitled to, what our rights are. That's where we start from, a position of strength. Those who abuse their citizenship, to attack other citizens in Canada. That's what they're doing, is they're abusing their citizenship. They are less Canadian, not us. Never forget your position in this country. Never be ashamed of your identity. Never lose 1 inch of who you are and what you are entitled to. That's where we start from. Now, let's do the work. Your question was, when did I come to experience anti-Sikh hatred in Canada? Day 2 of arriving in Canada in 1983. It was commonplace. I was the only Dastar-Dari student in Frankfurt Secondary in Surrey, BC. It was commonplace as I walked to school to have people yell out names from their cars as they're driving to work. If it was less than 3 times, it was a good day. Right? It was commonplace that at school, I would get called out. And back then, I didn't have words, I had my fists. I don't recommend that. That's not the way to go. But we did what we had to do. And then came the journey into the RCMP. So when that started, we had pins. We had calendars. We had signs across highways in this country with an image of a Sikh and a no entry on it. Yeah. We didn't have social media back then, so it was either TV, radio, or print. Right? A little bit more contained. And you knew who was attacking you, because they wouldn't publish you unless you gave your name. So you knew. And all of that, confronted us. It wasn't just Baltej Singh facing that. We were facing that. It wasn't my face, it was our face. It wasn't my Dastar, it was our Dastar. It wasn't my Sikhi, it was our Sikhi. And we are still here, thriving, doing incredibly well, contributing into this country. This country is as successful as it is because of our contributions, not from the lack of. So the price on our head has never gone away. Never gone away. But despite that, we still are victorious. That is the spirit of Chardi Kala. Kehna sokha hai, par sanu hukum hai guruan vallon ke jeena hai, kehna hi nahi. So there was very quickly a time when I first started out in the town that I served in Quesnel, BC, that if anybody could knock off my turban and take it to a local bar, they would be paid $5,000. There was a jar waiting for them. Right? It was even reported in the local newspapers. So again, the price on our head has always been there. It's never gone away. And we continue to fight. We continue to do our part. We continue to struggle because it's not only our struggle. Because when we are attacked, as Balpreet Singh said, others are attacked with us. We're not the only racialized minorities, communities in this country. So while we may be the ones that are most visible, there are others that are counting on us to stand our ground, because if we lose ground, they lose ground. So this is the time for allyship. This is the time to come together. This is the time to face those that are not Canadians and put them in their place. Yes. That is how we do this. That is how we beat this. But in that process, in that fight, in that battle, in that work, never lose sight of who we are, what we are, and what we have accomplished in this country, and that no one can take away from us.
Wow. Very powerful words. You touched on question number 2 because, growing up, I remember those calendars. I remember, when you saw Voltage Singh and the strike through, and like you're saying, Canal BC, ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, growing up, we'd go to get deg and they'd give you so much. Like the Sikh community was so like hot. There was just a few, right? But a lot of hate. But you see it in a different way now, right? Like there's different forms of it. But jumping off of that, Gurbaj Singh, your case was, a landmark moment around religious freedoms in Canada. Can you share how you navigated those challenges at that time, ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ, and how do you see similar issues showing up today? And are they the same or different?
Okay, so that time, the community support was the main thing because we were, as you mentioned, we were just few. We were a growing community. I can still remember when this case was in the media and in the public. It was the opportunity for Sikh community to go out in media and newspapers and do something that the governments have failed to do in the past, is to talk about Sikhi, talk about Kakars. And I remember reading newspapers, and the pages of the newspapers were covering the Kakars and talking about what are the 5 Kakars, why do we wear kirpan. And they gave us the platform to go out in the public and put our perspective so we can change, bring the change in the public, because I think the narrative that was being set at that time was the public is not happy. The parents don't want weapons in the school. So we wanted to change that. Our goal was never to go up to Supreme Court and fight that. Our goal was to come to a common ground. We held a lot of meetings with school board. We did community meetings, brought parents, thousands of parents were at those meetings, and we try to, explain and put our perspective and come to a common ground that there's nothing to fear. Because I think it was ignorance at that time. People were not educated, so we tried to do that. And it didn't work. They were being stubborn. I think at that time, it became more political rather than the issue. So political parties got involved, and they wanted to challenge it all the way up to Quebec Appeal Court, and then we got a chance to go to Supreme Court of Canada. So during that time, what I was feeling or going through, I lost the chance to learn French the way I wanted to learn French. I wanted to be fluent. I wanted to grow in Quebec. We had options. We were given options during that case to, move to Toronto. Toronto was a lot growing, a lot advanced. People were known, no issues like that. But we did not back down, as Mr. Voltage has said, right? That was not an option. We didn't want to run away, because if it's happening with me, if I run away, then it can happen with the second person or the third person. So how far are you gonna run away? Somebody gotta stand and fight. So I think that was the opportunity, and Guru Sahib di मेहर सीगी कि उन्होंने ये responsibility family to दिती, and we didn't run away from it. We wanted to fight. Community throughout Canada has supported. It's not just the fight of me. It's not a fight of my family. It's a fight कि सारी community आने वाले future ਲਈ वो fight सीगी. So that's why we fought, and it was. I think at that time, उस time ते जड़ा अपा देखा, I think we can justify it, even though it's not justifiable in country like this. There was education issue, but right now, after 20 years, we are still facing the same challenges.
Yeah, Bill 21,
that's what is very disappointing.
Yeah.
But again, appa chardi kala ch rehna hai, like that is our word, our values. We are not to back down. I was just talking to somebody else before, and I was telling the message to our youngsters is only to just move forward. Our history is only about 500 to 600 years old. Our history is not too old. You can learn from it. We have been through a lot of Kallukare, small Kallukara, Vadda Kallukara, been through 1984. We've been through a lot of things, and we have never been finished.
Yeah.
We are gonna go through this. It is just a phase of time. It's gonna pass. We will win this too, And it's not that it's going to ever end. It's going to keep coming. We just got to keep fighting. And Maharaj ne dastar ise karke ditti hai ki sir hamesha ucha rakhna hai. This is the crown given by our gurus, so we are not going to back down. Unfortunately, the results of this report is very, very disappointing. You know, it should have been a lot lower percentages, but we as a community throughout Canada, we have to come stronger. And I am very glad that WSO has taken this step, and their initiatives are welcomed and very appreciative that our youngsters can, you know, they have a platform now to go to talk about. And it is very, very important that we inna cheezan nu report kariye, either police or bring them to the court. Any issue that you face, we have to bring into the light. I also face, even after winning the case, I myself faced a couple incidents which I actually did not report it. Now at this time, I think at that time my thinking was that I don't want to get involved again. But how much you can, it can happen, right? So
Can I also just, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਉਮਰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਹੋਗੀ when you during the time that you were fighting all those levels of the case?
that was started at 11, and it was finished when I was like 14 or 15 years old.
Wow.
So if our ਬੱਚੇ need ਹੌਸਲਾ, right? 11 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ at 11 you took on the entire country and the entire legal system.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
I forgot about the yellow and the red cards over there. That's fantastic. I thought you were just doing whatever you were doing there. That's fantastic. Thank you.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Gurbaj Singh, and touching on, you know, like you were a student in Quebec, and then you fought the case, and then on Bill 21 in Quebec, we know what's happening, and we're back at the Supreme Court just, you know, in the month of March. So, like you said, Virji, like, and Gurbaj Singh, like, we've done this before. Sadi Khandani has this. We have that warrior spirit inside of us, and to not back down. I love that. So this question's for Jaspreet Kaur. How have attitudes towards Sikhs in Canada changed over time? And how do factors like disinformation, changing demographics, and overlapping identities, like international students and genders, shape the experience of anti-Sikh hate today? And what role do institutions play in addressing or reinforcing those issues?
Thank you. So the report is going to be released, and I've had a chance to take a look at it. So one of the things I'm going to caution is when you do read it, make sure that you have someone that you can talk to about it. It is quite, it's a lot to see it all in one place. To see, if you're like me and you have a tendency to stay out of the comments section of the internet, a lot of the comment section of the internet is in this post. Some of the images I had not seen before, and they were truly shocking and horrifying, and I learned some things that I didn't, like forms of anti-Sikh hate that I didn't even know existed. There are so many different elements to being a Sikh, and so many of those intersect and overlap to create such unique experiences. One of the portfolios that the World Sikh Organization took on inadvertently was supporting international students. So at first, it wasn't just World Sikh Organization, shuru to 84 de Kalukare to baad, started doing advocacy for Khalistan, started doing a lot of community work. We pivoted towards legal issues, supported in different legal cases. And then ਜਦੋਂ ਲੋੜ ਪਈ community ਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਪਈ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ international students ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ. Then we have like the current president of WSO Ontario, Jaspreet Singh, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ. He brought their voices to us, he elevated their voices. He also has lived experience as a previous international student. And we started to see the impacts of that. The education system has continually had a background of politics. It feigns being apolitical, and it carries forward certain politics. So I'll share some examples. I'm a product of the Peel District School Board. I was born in Toronto, raised in Brampton. I sang to Christian God keep our land glorious free every single morning. We never named that it was a Christian God, but it was there. I held crosses on Remembrance Day. I can sing for, like off the top of my, completely off by heart. I can sing somewhere between 10 to 20 hymns about Jesus. I can sing about baby Jesus. I can sing about adult Jesus. We would have said that was a secular school system. I was told that I went to Conestoga Public School. We talked about Conestoga wagons. We had a song we sang at every assembly. The pioneers came to this land, a hardy lot where they cleared the bush and built the homes, the farms we see today. I still know it off by heart. In Conestoga wagons, they journeyed through the forest to build a brand new home for us. Now come and join the chorus. I was never told that this land is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Mississaugas of the Credit. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਆਦਿਵਾਸੀ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਹਮਦਰਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਆ that they've been here from time immemorial. So the education system continued to, and still does, right? We see, especially through foreign interference, we see things like the consulate reaching out to the Peel District School Board and saying, don't teach about the farmers' protest. We see the hand of the Indian government in disinformation saying that words like Khalistan shouldn't be used in school boards, that Janelle Singh Pindranwale's image shouldn't be on sweatshirts. We see direct disinformation. We see people who believe state narratives and carry the disinformation. And then we see folks who unknowingly carry forward those torches, like WSO alongside the National Canadian Council for Muslims released a report on how Hindutva, the HSS, and the RSS operate in Canada. I would encourage you to read it. But you can see that a lot of HSS home addresses, or their institutional addresses, and the report talks about how these are specifically Nazi-inspired, hate-filled cultural organizations. They're registered on school board addresses. Their institutional addresses are PDSB addresses and TDSB addresses. And so there are folks who unknowingly host yoga days being put on by the HSS. There are multiple police forces throughout the GTA that have rakhadis tied on them by the HSS and the RSS because they're the protectors of Hindu supremacists. These are, again, all captured in that report, and you can read them because they sound really big when I ramble them off from stage, but the report does a really strategic step-by-step way of explaining how all of these mechanisms work. So education is political, but operates under the guise of being apolitical. So when we say we want to do Gatka, we want to talk about Khalistan, we want to have, international students want to have Seva days, want to give Shabil out, we are told that is political, you can't do that. But when someone else wants to stop the school board from doing things, that is framed as neutral and as not being political. So some of the mechanisms of anti-Sikh hate are very overt, are very much to your face. It's very much going to be someone screaming a slur, and some of them are very intersecting, institutional, and you'll see them in the larger structures of our society, like the educational system.
Bilkul, absolutely. Even with the work we've been doing with SSAs, you're hearing from one of the students said, my SSA in high school the bachi, kendi jeri sadi teacher advisor ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਬੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਦ ਲਾਈਕ ਅਸੀਂ 84 ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ and the teacher decided not to do the SSA like as an advisor and ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ they thought it's better to have a gora, it's better to have a white teacher advise the SSA than to have a Sikh teacher, because the Sikh teacher puts their own narrative spin. Jida asi jimme the gulami sochni, institutionalized, deeply embedded, it's to that level. So takriban sare duje bachche can, that's a good idea, because the Sikh teachers who might not mean bad, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਡੂੰਗੀ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ that ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੀਏ because we don't want to cause issues, we don't want to be seen as, you know, really extreme. So, and it's sad to say, but in the Peel District School Board, we have a few of our high school students, their SSAs have gotten converted into Punjabi Student Association or South Asian Students Association. SSAs, no, they're just trying to eliminate it in a different subvertive way. So thank you very much, Jaspreet Kaur. Building off of that, this is open to anyone. Those narratives that we're hearing in public discourse that frame Sikh political expression in harmful ways, like calling Khalistani supporters terrorists, or just harmful racist words and images used to depict Sikhs. How have these narratives affected the Sikh communities today, And what role can Sikhs, Sikh institutions, and non-Sikh institutions play in addressing and challenging them? So this is open to anyone who feels comfortable or would like to jump in and answer.
My short one is just to name anti-Sikh hate where it is. So when we say things like there's a lot of anti-South Asian hate, publicly, visibly, it's actually a lot of international students are the face of that. And so and now that we have a definition, especially when you see something and it's anti-Sikh, to name it as anti-Sikh. And the other reason I think the definition is really important is because larger categories like South Asian do not acknowledge that a lot of the violence that's happening towards our community is happening from another South Asian community. And so, yeah, just to simply name it where you see it would be a huge step.
100%.
Yeah, I think there's work to be done, both internally as we combat this, sentiment in the larger population. We have to do our own work, and as has already been shared, we're also shying away from our own identity, and Balpreet Singh spoke to that as well. Recent while, and I'll share a very recent example. In the last few years, I served as the chair of the Workers WorkSafe BC. It's a workers' compensation board. And one of the issues that came to us from BC Ferries workers and sardars was that they were not allowed to wear their dastars and have unshorn beards because it interfered with having respirators on and not being able to perform safety and emergency evacuations. It was all, it wasn't all a false narrative. It wasn't, there was other ways to achieve those same goals. The interesting part was that our own Sikh brothers and sisters in BC Ferries were against changing that policy. Now, there are policies, and one of the policies that was at the workers' compensation level that was very identified very early was that you must have clean, a clean-shaven face to be able to fit a respirator. Well, having a clean-shaven face has nothing to do with making sure that a respirator works, because that's not the standard. The standard is we need to have a seal, and we need the respirator to work once you've put it on. The clean-shaven part is that old thinking, that language that's been added to discriminate against one particular group. So the minute you remove that clean-shaven language, then you focus on the issue of safety. And if you can accomplish that particular event, particular issue, then it's no longer a matter of discussion or debate on whether the person's clean-shaven or not. So that was just recently we were able to overcome that. Once we were able to overcome it, then the same people that were against it, our Sikh brothers and sisters, suddenly were congratulating, us for having it done and taking it to the finish line. So Waheguru, if we only could just be together throughout, that would be much better. So we have a report here that's been issued. As I was sitting there listening to Balpreet Singh and all the things and all the data that's been shared, one, I think it's critical that this report is operationalized. It needs to be, and as we speak about law enforcement being the first line of defense when it comes to hatred and some of the violence that we're experiencing, whether it's verbal abuse, whether it's violence, whether it's physical abuse, our police departments, our police services, and this is an area that I worked in, and have some experience, they need to receive this report and they need to go over it. And they need to understand the impact that it's having on their citizens, on the people that they are serving and their community. So I certainly am going to raise it in British Columbia, and I will encourage that it be raised here. This has to be a part of every local police department's education, awareness, and understanding. We have to start there. We also have to think about different ways of engaging individuals who feel that they can brazenly infer violence on us. We heard about now this growing sentiment or growing acts of where the stars are being ripped off. Well, I would say, and certainly Bill C9 is coming, and some of the observations that I'm going to share in the Senate, is that along with the criminal charge, we must also think about civil penalties. People must be held accountable because the pain we talk about is not on just that day. It's a pain of the community. It's a pain of that individual, that family, the community, and generations after. So someone's got to pay for that. And I think it's high time that we take individuals who feel that they can act in this way to civil court and also hit them where it hurts, which is their pocketbooks. We've got to take those stands. So along with that, I think we all can be activists, Piario. I know we get on our phones and we look at those Facebook pages and you talk about some of the, the vitriol that comes along, and I see it often. So this is what I do daily now. It may be something that you can take away as to how you can, because you need to be active. You need to feel activated. This is what you do. When you come across that bot or that fake profile, you tag on it in Facebook and you report it as a fake profile. Do 3 a day. Every day. That's what you can do. That's action. Without data, there is no way to collect metrics. Somewhere along the line, we've got to hold Facebook accountable and all these other social media platforms accountable. But unless we report them, unless we call them out, what data are they going to rely on? What am I going to ask as a parliamentarian when I say, how many fake profiles have been reported to you? And what does that data look like? So we need to teach that to our children who have phones and are on social media. All of you need to be doing that as well. This is today's fight. This is activism in the digital world, and we have to be in that way. Otherwise, we allow it to continue. We give them a free pass. Yeah. So block, that's fine. You can block it after. But first, report it as a fake profile. And if it's hatred, report it as hatred. So just like we were talking about earlier that we need to come into police departments, we need to report all of these instances, because if you don't report it, it hasn't happened. Nobody knows about it. Telling stories here are helpful. They might be a balm to each other. We might get elevated and inspired afterwards, and we can go on and carry on. But it doesn't do anything for the next generation and for the people that are going to come after. So report it. You are paying for that service. You are taxpayers. These are public servants. I was a public servant. I am a public servant. So take advantage of that service. Report it. It is important. I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Viger. In regards to, you literally answered question, my other question, in regards to law enforcement and how...
reading your notes.
I love it. It's right here. You got really good vision. I'm struggling. No, I was just going to say, in regards to, like sick cases, we do underreport. I was just here in City Hall a few weeks ago, and they were talking about hate crimes. And do you know that first it was labeled South Asian hate, and it was like 3rd or 4th out of all the other religious groups. And I was like, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਸਤਾਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੱਚੇ and our sick ਬੱਚੇ, our adults, ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਸਾਰੇ, we don't report. And that's a huge step. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੀਏ ਕੁਛ ਕਰੀਏ, right? ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ, like you could have learned French. You're 11 to 14 years old. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੀ. Your family could have brought you to a different province. You stood your ground. You reported it. You fought it. And because of you, we won major rights. You didn't back down. Like that is important. We can't just let it go. And ਜਿਵੇਂ simple ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ block ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ report ਕਰੋ, ਫਿਰ block ਕਰੋ. Let's get rid of all these, bots that are out there. There's a foreign entity that pays a lot of people to have multiple accounts, and it's just fake. So let's report it, let's hold it to account, and let's give it a name. And we have a name, right? Anti-sick hate, let's give it a name, let's call it what it is, and it's really important.
3 a day, make it your nickname.
That's the soundbite for tonight.
I
is
love
three,
it.
3 a day.
3 a day. I love it. All right, so last question. And this is for all of you to answer in pieces. So how is embracing your Sikh identity, that same identity, that's the target of the hate that you have experienced, influenced your personal journey and your advocacy? So Gurbaj Singh, I'll have you start.
So that identity, I think, as I was talking earlier about our history, our gurus, what they did for for us they had a vision, right? Like they had a vision for our society to stand against unjust, fight for rights. And I think that's what it is. So that identity, that's what you have to look up for. And that's what I always look up for, even for my kids. My daughter is 5 years old. I have a son who's 2 years old. And that's what we always talk about at home. We have pictures that they always ask questions about. What are those? We are always talking about these things. And I think we need to pass it on to our generations. That is the identity that you don't have to give up. You have to internally accept that first, because that's where the change has to come. Don't compromise on any level, right? Don't step away from things that you internally think that you should stand up for. So those are the things that I personally, always have in my mind. Whenever there is certain things, I like to always leave my, door opens for questions. Everybody asks me, I have a question. Do you mind? I always say, no, there's no mind. As long as you ask a question and clear your doubt, I am willing to answer any question, rather than you assuming and make others target of anti-Sikh hate. So keep your doors open. I also feel sometimes when our youngsters nowadays, especially students, when they are asked a question by somebody else, they get agitated. Like they think, why are you asking me that question? So we need to keep our doors open and try to explain to our best knowledge, so that miscommunication can be eliminated, and we can explain who we are, why we look like this, what is our identity. So these are the things that I personally always keep in mind, and try to build up the communication and try to eliminate. I know it's a long shot, but it's worth taking.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It is good being open and having that communication, starting with your children and the others. It's great. I'm going to build off of that question. I'm just going to pivot a little bit for Jaspreet Kaur. Building on that, what message or advice would you share with the Sikh Naujawan who are navigating school, work, or with their own identity today?
Yeah, and it's such a big question, because this identity that has put us in the crosshairs of this hate has given us everything.
Yeah.
It's pyar, maan boli, khana, peena, bani, sikhi, bana. Like it's given us everything, and I think like even like ਸਾਡੀ ਔਕਾਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕਰੀਏ. And I understand so deeply on such a visceral level, because I'm put in my place as a woman so often. I understand so deeply what kind of ਸਿੱਖੀ it takes. ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ, like just freedom from the patriarchy and the right to sit with my brothers. And I think there's so many people here, but like the Sikh National Archives of Canada is a partner sister organization to World Sikh Organization. So hota uncle ji aaye ਆ, and auntie ji ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ the WSO founding fathers and uncles were doing their work. ਆਂਟੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ, ਤਾਈ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ, ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਵੀ ਤਾਇਆ ਜੀ ਵਰਗੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਮੋਹਰੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ, ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਾ ਰੁੱਲ ਜਾਣ, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੀ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਨਾ ਦੇਣੀ ਪਵੇ. ਐਂਡ ਸੋ ਇਫ ਦੇਰ ਸਮਥਿੰਗ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਤੋਂ, ਤਾਈਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਆ, ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, it's that identity. But most important to that identity, I would say, is Maa Boli, is Punjabi. So if you, I'm going to say something a little controversial. Watch Punjabi movies. Listen to Punjabi songs. Find that language wherever you can, because it's food, it's love, it's Bani, it's identity, it's everything. And it is what Kalukare vich, what did they try and take away from us? The Sikh reference library, our language rights, our ability to do prachar in Punjabi. And so we know that being connected to Gurmukhi, being connected to Punjabi is a source of strength.
Love it.
So controversial.
Baltej Singh, just one more to add to that. A meaningful step, big or small, that can address anti-Sikh hate today.
Yeah, Vaheguru. So harness the technology of Sikhi. We have been given a technology. Harness it. Chardhi Kala is just not words. It's a way of life. Seva, Simran, Abani, Bana. These are just not words. They're daily actions. We come from a lineage and a legacy of resistance. That is our history. You can either be that small piece of iron sitting in a corner, or you can choose to be beaten on the anvil, thrown in the forge, beaten on the anvil, thrown in the forge, and beaten on the anvil again, and in the forge with fire to be made into a sword that can be wielded, that will win battles and wars. So, harness the Sikhi, the technology, Ketya, Dukh, Pukh, Sadmar, Epidat, Teri Datar. How do you not wake up with a smile when you know that Evi Odi Daat hai? So, don't just do Japji in the morning, Pyareo. Live Japji during the day. So if we can do that, all of the answers, all of her, power, Shakti, Sikhya, Samj, we have it. It's been gifted to us. We simply need to operationalize it. We simply need to put it into action. Once that happens, then that those teachings becomes our life. It's no longer theory, it's practical. And then we can absolutely take the space and hold the space of Sant Sipahi.
I love it. Thank you very much, Virji. That is really touching. So that brings us to a conclusion of the panel discussion portion. I'd like
Bas?
to bus ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, but we'll be able to mix in with the audience ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, and ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ we have questions. We can. Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Do we have time for any questions? Yeah, sure. Look, Anji. Yeah. Yeah. No. So just to correct you, Virji. Yeah. 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 Hanji. No, yeah. So Virji, just to correct, Hanji, yes. Yeah. So you made a really good point at the end, but just to correct the initial point, this anti-Sikh hate, this word, we're choosing to use it because we're giving a name to it. And it's maybe not part of your lived experience, it's part of mine, it's part of my children's. So when you're saying it's a government-funded report, the report in the panel, like this is from the World Sick Organization? Yeah, no, but it's not. So yeah. So we can, yeah. So, Virgie, we're going to answer. Yeah, I'll let Jaspreet Kaur answer the question in regards. This isn't a government-funded program in that respects. There's funding available for certain, anti-racist policies, and we had an opportunity to capture that, and it's through Canada Race Relationships. So that's one part. So the other part that you wanted to bring out is, there is problems within our own Sikh community. Hanji haga ya, mainu vi sharm aundi hai when I see CP24 and it's Sikh faces. Jere like kardiyan chodiyan kardiyan when there is a problem. So you're right. And I think there is something to be said for that. But it's not playing victim, right?
We have to take turns. We
Yeah.
have to take
So this is not going to get done this way, brother.
Yeah.
If you want to ask a question, then wait for the response. Once you have the response, we're happy to have the conversation. But it can't be this way. This doesn't work. So wait for the response. Benji's going to have a response for you. I have a response for you. And then we can have that discussion. Yes? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for sharing. The funding for this was from the Canadian Race Relations Foundation. World Sick Organization is historically community funded and volunteer driven and historically very critical of politicians and making a lot of the same points and asking a lot of the same questions that you're asking. And so we're not forcing anyone to be here or to take this forward. So if this does resonate with you, there are real action items from this report. And if it doesn't resonate with you, you can leave it here and you can continue to challenge all of the issues that we're facing in your own way. There's no one way to address all of the things that are going on in the world. This is our approach to doing it, and I look forward to seeing the ways you do it differently.
Let me just add one thing, brother. I love your passion. Run for politics. Come on up here and join the fight. Let me share some things with you. You shared your lived experience. I have a different lived experience. I will tell you about all the things that I faced and went through if you have time. Come and hear me out. Now, here's the other part. Sorry? I did at one time when I was 16. Yeah, but I grew out of that. So hear me out for a second. Hear me out. Hear me out for a second. This is a journey for all of us. You're at a different time in your life, and you have experienced some things. Could we have done this at the Gurdwara? Of course we could have. But this is our public institution. This is our place. The money that you speak about are our tax dollars. The work that we are doing is to make Canada better. The work that we are embarking on is about making Canada safer. This is not about the Sikh community. You're missing the point. This is about having a Canada that's safe for everyone. And if one community feels unsafe in this nation, we have failed the Charter, the Constitution, and everything that we have fought for and what your forefathers fought for in World War I and World War II. That is what we are fighting for here. So if one person feels unsafe because of hatred in this country, then we're failing. And as far as politicians are concerned, brother, you know, that's what I said. I ran for elections in BC. And I got to tell you, I challenge anybody here to come into public service. I didn't win. I'm in the Senate now. Well, you got to thank God I didn't win because I wouldn't be in the Senate. But I did go through that process. I challenge anybody to come into public service. Go knock on those doors. Go talk to people on the front lines and see for yourself. So you have one experience. This is 1,600 people that were spoken to, right?
Yeah.
No. The
Town halls across the country.
Yeah.
So
we're
we gotta
wrap
talk from facts, not make assumptions,
yeah.
not make things up.
And
That
Virji,
doesn't help
happy
the
to have a
conversation.
conversation with you offside, just so we can keep the evening going. But thank you so much, Vaigurjis. So just wanted to thank the panelists for your experiences, insights.
Can I just say one
Anji
thing?
Vaigur.
But I admire your courage.
Yes.
I admire
I think we're filled with good guys.
Vaheguru.
Haji, yeah, but Nindya doesn't,
I-
get us anywhere.
I wasn't
Yeah.
inviting conversation. I
Yeah.
was just going to say,
Haji.
I admire your courage.
Yes.
Thank you for your voice. Thank you for speaking up, because that is also important. That is also important, to be advocate, to be clear, to have a voice, and to stand up. So keep doing what you're doing. But also we'll have a conversation after about shaping our conversations that are based on truth, grounded truth and
Yeah.
facts. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much, Virji. And at this time, that concludes our panel. We're going to get off the stage and we're going to welcome Sharnjeet Kaur, the Executive Vice President for World Sikh Organization, who's going to join us with the closing remarks for tonight's program. Thank you very much.
If you haven't had the chole, they were pretty good.
ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਫਤਿਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਿਓ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Thank you all for being here today. I know that we are running just a little bit over time, and please know that my remarks will be very, very short. I want to begin by acknowledging our distinguished panelists, Senator Baltej Singh Dhillon, Dr. Jasprit Kaur Bal, and Sardar Gurbaj Singh Multani. Each of you has not only broken barriers in your own right, but you have helped redefine what inclusion and justice looks like in Canada. Thank you for your leadership, your courage, and sharing your insights with us today. I also want to extend my sincere gratitude to the World Sikh Organization team, the writers, the organizers, the advocates who made this report and this event and every town hall possible. This work is not easy. It requires persistence, clarity, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Thank you to the Sikh Heritage Month Committee, who have organized a month-long of incredible events and supported and promoted this event today. And thank you to all of you for joining us today, for listening and for being part of this important conversation. What we've heard today, and what this report makes undeniably clear, is that anti-Sikh hate in Canada is not abstract, and it is not rare. It is real, it is rising, and it is deeply felt. When over 80% of respondents say that hate has increased in just the past 5 years, we have to take that seriously. When 91% of visibly identifiable Sikhs report being targeted, we cannot dismiss that as isolated incidents. When nearly 2/3 say their mental health has been significantly impacted, we are no longer just talking about discrimination. We are talking about harm that touches every part of a person's life. And perhaps most concerning, when over 70% of victims choose not to report these incidents because they feel it is futile or fear retaliation, it tells us that the problem is not only the hate itself, but the lack of trust in the systems that meant to protect. This report does something that has long been overdue. It names anti-Sikh hate, it defines it, and it documents it with evidence and lived experience. It forces us to move beyond anecdotes and into accountability. But it also challenges us, because behind every statistic is a person, a student being bullied, a traveler being singled out, a worker being overlooked, a family feeling unsafe, a community targeted by disinformation from a foreign state actors. And behind every one of those experiences is a question: what kind of country do we want to be? Canada prides itself on multiculturalism, on inclusion, on dignity for all. But those values only mean something if they are actively upheld, especially when it is difficult, especially when communities are under pressure. And yet, even in the face of all of this, there is something else that defines our Sikh community: resilience. For over a century in Canada, and for centuries before that, Sikhs have endured, adapted, and contributed. From the time of our gurus, who taught us to stand for justice and equality, to the upheaval of partition, the injustice faced by the occupants of Guru Nanak Jihad, to the trauma of 1984 and the genocide of Sikhs, our history has never been easy. And still, we rise, not with bitterness, but with resolve, not with fear, but with faith. We move forward in Chardi Kala, in a spirit of optimism, resilience, and collective strength. But Chardi Kala is not passive. It does not mean ignoring injustice. It means confronting it with courage, with unity, and with purpose. So let this report not be the end of a conversation, but the beginning of action. Action from policymakers to recognize and address anti-Sikh hate. Action from institutions to build trust and accountability. Action from all of us to stand up, to speak out, and to support one another. Because resilience alone is not enough. It must be matched with change. Thank you again to everyone who made today possible, and thank you all for everything that you have done to contribute to this moment. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.